All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is happening, Ship It Nation family? It is your boy M. Belman 967 here for another DraftKings NBA Slate breakdown. Today is Saturday, December 6th. We got 6 games to talk about. Let's get it. A bunch of teams on back-to-backs tonight. So, as always with these videos, I try to get them out early. Stuff is going to change throughout the day. We're going to have guys out that we don't expect. It's the weekend, NBA, so just know that going in when you watch this video. I do the best I can with the information I have at hand. So bear with me. And with that said, let's dive in. First game on the slate, we've got Atlanta, who played last night against Washington. The Hawks are favored by 9.5 here. Tough loss for Atlanta last night at home against Denver. They look to bounce back here against a bad Washington team. From the Atlanta side, not a ton of ownership coming here. Jalen Johnson, who just is phenomenal. I mean, one of the best players in the NBA. Fun to watch. First half triple-double last night. Ended up with 75 DraftKings points. Wasn't really owned. Doesn't project to be that highly owned here. I think that ownership probably is higher than we're projecting just because how good he's been. Lack of true spend-up options on this slate. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's going to be higher than that ownership percentage. I know other places across the industry have him projected as pretty highly owned and a much higher projection than we're showing. So know that going in. I project him higher. He looks like one of the best plays on the slate. Expensive, but shouldn't be that hard to get to. After him, Vit Krejci is getting a little bit of ownership. I get it. Okongwu with Porzingis out. Not projected for anything at 8K. I don't mind him. This is a really good matchup for Atlanta. So price tags are stabilizing and probably where they should be, but this is a good enough spot where I could see getting on board with a bunch of Atlanta here. The Washington side is going to be a little bit tougher to break down just because we don't know the statuses of Cam Whitmore and Chris Middleton. We know Bilal Coulibaly is out, so they're really shorthanded here. Will Riley at 3,400 projecting to be one of the higher value owned plays on the slate, projects pretty well on DraftKings. I'm fine with it. I don't think he's like a must play at this point or anything, but I think he's a solid play. Marvin Bagley at 5,200. We've read this book before. His price tag is middling enough where he's not the must play he was at 3,500, but still widely in play with upside at 5,200. So can get on board with him. Bub Carrington at 4K. I think he's a fine play. He's not a guy I'm excited about playing, but at 4K, he can get the job done. Keyshawn George, 6,700. I think if you're playing a bunch of this game, he's going to be the top piece of Washington. So, him and McCollum are two guys that I like, but more so if I'm playing this game as kind of a game stack, which I think is totally viable on this slate with only 6 games and a couple games that we're not that interested in. Moving on to Golden State at Cleveland. Cleveland played last night, so another game where one team is on the second half of a back-to-back. Golden State, we don't know the statuses of Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. So, again, we'll wait and see on those guys. As of now, they're projected in. Not a ton to love on Golden State, except for probably DeAnthony Melton. Really good positional eligibility with shooting guard and small forward. You can roster him at 5 different spots. 3,600. We know who Melton is. He's not going to have a massive, massive role when this team is fully healthy, but it's not. And he can do a lot of things. So 3,600, I think he looks really good. I like him more than Will Riley. I think both are totally viable. Other than that, I think Golden State is just a wait and see approach. Not a team I'm dying to get exposure to, but if both Green and Butler are out, we might be forced to. From the Cleveland side, Darius Garland projected in tonight. He missed last night. We'll see if Mobley, Spida, anyone who played last night is out. But right now we're projecting them all in. Obviously Allen's out. I'm I don't love a ton from Cleveland here. We saw Donovan Mitchell start at the point guard last night. He wasn't great from a fantasy perspective. Garland's back, though. So, I think Mitchell totally good here. Not a priority for me, but we know he can spike upside in any matchup. Mobley, expensive enough. I don't like this game that much from a DFS perspective, especially with Garland back in the fold here. Jalen Tyson's been really, really good. 6K. I think he's in play. I like the shooting guard, small forward eligibility. I don't want to say he's like a spend up to be contrarian play because he's only 6K, but I think his price tag is nice for what he's doing on the court right now. Again, I'm not like coring him or anything like that, but I think his game and how he's playing, makes him in play right now at this price tag. All right, moving on to a game probably have a little bit more interest in from a DFS perspective. Milwaukee at Detroit. Both teams played last night, so could easily see some shenanigans with guys out that we don't know of as of yet, but we'll play it as we see it right now. Starting from the Milwaukee side, Kevin Porter Jr., likely to be the highest owned player on the slate, and it makes sense. Price tag $100 cheaper than it was last night when he was the highest or second highest owned player on the slate behind Steven Adams. So, yeah, $6,500 is too cheap for the role he takes on with no Giannis. We know that when he's given this opportunity, he's a very, very good player for DFS purposes, and that's just what he is right now. So KPJ, top play on the slate, one of if not. So like him a ton here. Ryan Rollins, kind of the spend up to be contrarian guy. Not overly interested in him there. Kyle Kuzma at 5K. We'll see what Milwaukee does with their starting lineup. He's never a guy I want to play, but at this price tag, depending on, what they do with their starting lineup, he might easily be at least in play here. Bobby Portis, same thing. He was pretty good last night. They just don't play him a ton. So, yeah, I think as a contrarian option at 5,300, I could see it. And certainly if he starts, then, I'd want to play a lot of him. From the Detroit side, it's a good matchup for Detroit, but they're pretty healthy and price tags are likely where they should be. Jalen Duren, I think, is my favorite piece at 7,700. Tobias Harris looks okay at 5,100. Cade always in play. I like this matchup, so I could see Cade and KPJ going at it. I'd rather play Jalen Johnson than Cade, but Cade certainly has slate breaking upside on every slate he's on. So interested, if nothing else, especially depending if we get more value. Right now, Detroit just doesn't look that appealing. Again, if guys are out, though, that can make them look a lot better because I like this matchup. All right, Kings at Miami. This should be a great game from a DFS perspective. Blowout concerns for sure because Sacramento sucks, but you do catch Miami on the second half of a back-to-back. So, good situational spot for Sacramento, if nothing else. From the Kings side, Malik Monk is projecting well and going to get ownership. I'm always a Monk guy, so 5K for him. Sign me up. I'm interested there. Maxime Reynaud starting to play more minutes, coming off a monster game last time out in a blowout, 4,500. He's in play for me too here. This game, I think, is going to draw the most ownership of all of them, and it makes sense. Really high total, two teams that don't play a ton of defense. So, yeah, I like this game a lot. Certainly the Miami side looks better because Sacramento stinks, as I mentioned, but Sacramento itself looks good, especially Monk, Reynaud, Zach LaVine, 6,300 LaVine. Yeah, I can get on board. And then DeRozan, Russell Westbrook spend up to be contrarian. I think a lot of Sacramento looks good here with Monk and Reynaud, the two best pieces. From the Miami side, everyone getting ownership, probably as they should. I'll start probably with the top three of Norman Powell, Bam, and Jaime Jaquez. Now, Tyler Hero might be back tonight. If he's in, I think it makes all the other guys just look a little bit worse. Hero himself would be in play, but even if he's in, this team just looks really good. Davion Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins, Kel'el Ware, Drew Smith. I think you definitely want some Miami exposure here, just depending on how much. We'll have to wait and see what other news we get on the slate. But they look, as of right now, like the top team to target. All right, moving on to the Clippers and the Timberwolves. Clippers played last night. Really tough spot for them. I can't see myself wanting too much from the Clippers unless Kawhi's out, which back-to-back, I mean, why wouldn't he be out? I feel like James Harden in that case would look really good at 9,300. He's, I don't want to say matchup proof, but he's so good offensively that he can get it done in any matchup. If this game is competitive, I would expect Harden to have a big game. After him, Kawhi himself is projected to get ownership right now, but again, we'll have to wait and see what the Clippers do here. That team is a mess anyways. Don't love much else from the Clip show. Collins is playing okay right now, so I could get on board with him. Zoo, nice price tag. I just don't love the spot. Collins' price tag is nice for how he's playing, but it's Harden, and then probably, obviously a big dip after him, but then Collins and Zubac would be in play. Certainly I would like the rest of the Clippers more if Kawhi is out. And if he's in, he's playing big minutes right now for him, and he's been good. So he himself would be in play, and I would like Harden a little bit less. From the T-Wolves side, the Clippers play so slow, not loving anything from Minnesota here. I think that, Ant in play on every slate he's on, but you're paying full freight for him. So I think there's other routes I'd rather go. DiVincenzo and McDaniels, two cheaper options I can get on board with. Naz Reid, don't love the price tag, but certainly upside coming off the bench. So I don't think I want to spend up on Minnesota here, but the DiVincenzo, McDaniels, Naz Reid types look pretty good. Last but not least, we've got Houston at Dallas. Both teams played last night. So again, kind of a who knows as to who's in or out as of right now. Sengun missed last night. It made Steven Adams and KD two of the top plays on the slate. I played a lot of them. They were both really, really good. Fortunately, KD didn't need to play in the fourth because of the blowout, but he got there anyway, so can't complain. If Sengun is out, I'll run it right back with KD. Right now we have Adams is out tonight. So if Sengun is out, I think Capella would then step in and look really, really good. Sengun himself, if he's in, would look good. If he's out, I'll want a lot of Houston here. Certainly not afraid of Dallas. So, yeah, a definite wait-and-see approach on Houston. They might look really, really good here if Sengun is out. If he's in, I still think those guys are in play, like Durant and Amen, Jabari, but certainly would not like them nearly as much as if he's out. From the Dallas side, Ryan Nembhard, 4,900. Yeah, he's just playing good ball right now. Obviously liked him a little bit more when he was cheaper, but who didn't? So, yeah, I think he would be a guy I'm looking at. Anthony Davis, that whole play tonight was awful last night, but I still think there's meat on the bone at 9,600. Najee Marshall looks okay here, depending on the PJ Washington news. Yeah, it's hard this game, especially being the last game, it's not that much after the first game, so we'll probably know. But, if everyone's in for Dallas, they don't look that appealing. We'll have to wait and see if guys are out. PJ Washington hasn't played in a couple games. Davis said he'll play, but we'll see. Yeah, really tough to break down this game just because both teams played last night. Older players kind of all around here. So, yeah, just pay attention to the news. Certainly there could be some really good spots all the way around there. All right, that is what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, any feedback is appreciated. My core plays will be up on the site if you're a member later this afternoon, before the slate starts. Again, obviously tough to do right now because we're waiting on so much news, but I appreciate you guys as always. Hope you have a great weekend, and that's all I got. Thanks again.